Long ago, on a dark, starless night, an ethereal glow appeared in the sky, casting an otherworldly light over an inhabited land. From this mysterious glow, a figure descended, falling from the heavens as if guided by some unknown force. As the glow dimmed and disappeared, another person, seemingly unaffected by time, stepped through a swirling portal, vanishing into the vast darkness. The unconscious person who descended to the ground woke up. This person, a man who had no recollection of his past or his purpose, wandered aimlessly through the endless night. His memories were lost, and his identity was shrouded in a fog of confusion. With every step, the night stretched on, leaving him with only one certainty: he was alone and searching for something. By the time dawn broke and the first light of day touched the land, the man found himself standing at the gates of a training camp, where the Legion, a formidable military force, was preparing for battle. The camp was bustling with activity as they sought new recruits, and the man, drawn in by the sounds of purpose and order, stumbled into their midst, still unsure of his place in the world. Little did he know, this training camp would mark the beginning of a new chapter in his life, and perhaps the key to unlocking the mysteries of his past. The protagonist is approached by Sergeant and a fellow soldier named Gizmo, who assume, based on his physique, that he might be interested in joining the Legion army. To test his potential, Gizmo spars with him and teaches him the basics of sword fighting. Surprisingly, the protagonist learns incredibly fast and even manages to defeat Gizmo at the training camp, despite being a rookie. Impressed by his skill and rapid progress, Sarge personally offers to train him further. He also informs him that he is qualified to join the newly formed Shadow Squad, an elite unit under Sarge's command. However, Sarge warns him that the Shadow Squad is unique. It is the only military group permitted to use shadow energy, a controversial power. Because of this, the Motherland views them with suspicion and disdain, treating them as outcasts despite their strength. This setup not only establishes the protagonist's exceptional combat talent, but also introduces tension. Being part of the Shadow Squad means gaining power but also facing prejudice from their own nation. Despite their victories, the Shadow Squad remains looked down upon by the Legion hierarchy due to their use of shadow energy. Determined to change this, Sarge devises a plan. He decides to enroll the Shadow Squad in the Legion's tournament. By winning, they would not only prove their worth, but also secure a respected place in the army. As a reward, the Shadow Squad would be granted autonomy over the southeastern lower sector of the Legion, allowing them to operate with official recognition near their camp. However, not everyone supports this plan. Gizmo's sister Greta strongly opposes their participation. She fears that normalizing shadow energy in the army would have dangerous consequences. In her eyes, if other squads started adopting it, the Legion could lose control, turning into ruthless monsters enslaved by their own power. To prevent this, Greta hopes the Shadow Squad will fail. Despite her concerns, the Shadow Squad fights their way to the tournament finals, proving their strength. With no other choice, Greta herself enters the final match to stop them. In an intense and emotional battle, the protagonist faces Greta, one of the toughest opponents yet. In the end, the protagonist emerges victorious, securing the Shadow Squad's place in Legion history. Their name is now glorified, earning them both recognition and respect. However, Greta's warnings about the dangers of shadow energy still linger, hinting at potential consequences in the future. As part of the Shadow Squad, the protagonist proves his worth by accomplishing numerous challenging missions. His exceptional skills earn him a special place in the squad, becoming Sarge's pride and joy. One day, the squad encounters a Dynastian girl named June, who infiltrates their camp to deliver a dire warning. The bamboo fort is about to be attacked by Dynastian commander Deng Rao. However, because she trespassed into Legion territory, the Shadow Squad captures her. Desperate, June pleads with them to intervene, warning that if the attack happens, Deng Rao will shatter the fragile peace between the dynasty and the Legion. Taking her words seriously, Sarge leads the Shadow Squad to investigate the bamboo fort, only to find it burned to the ground. The destruction confirms that Deng Rao has already acted, and further intelligence reveals that his forces have moved to Falcon's Gorge to set up camp. Without hesitation, the Shadow Squad heads there to confront the rebels. Upon arrival, they find Deng Rao and his army. A battle ensues, and Sarge, confident in his best soldier, taunts Deng Rao, claiming that his rookie, the protagonist, is strong enough to defeat the great commander of the dynasty. Rising to the challenge, the protagonist steps forward and engages Deng Rao in a fierce duel, ultimately emerging victorious. With Deng Rao defeated, Sarge delivers a chilling message, vowing that for every legionary killed by the dynasty, the Legion will take 10 dynastian lives in return. The squad also recovers the Shadow Sphere, a powerful relic they had been searching for. Victorious, they return to camp and celebrate, marking a significant triumph for the Shadow Squad. However, tensions between the dynasty and the Legion continue to rise, hinting at even greater conflicts ahead. After the Shadow Squad's victory, tensions between the dynasty and the Legion continue to rise. Despite a dynastian girl's plea that the attack on the bamboo fort was not an order from the Emperor, Sarge ignores her words, choosing to believe in the fight against the dynasty. Meanwhile, Sarge now possesses the Shadow Sphere, a relic the dynasty had been protecting. Legends say that the shadows inside the sphere are sentient, constantly seeking release by manipulating people, offering them power in exchange for their freedom. Sarge, unknowingly or not, falls under its influence. As a show of discipline, the Legion plans to execute June, the dynasty girl who had previously warned them about Deng Rao's attack. One night, June convinces the protagonist that the Shadow Sphere is corrupting Sarge's mind, leading him down a dangerous path. She urges the protagonist to set her free, claiming she can stop the sphere from destroying the Legion. After much thought, the protagonist realizes that June's past warnings were accurate, and if she is right again, the entire Legion could be at risk. He ultimately decides to help her escape. To stop the sphere's influence, they need to retrieve it. The two go to Gizmo, hoping he still has it. However, they find that Gizmo has already taken some of the shadow energy from the sphere and sold it on the black market for personal gain. The once loyal friend is now consumed by greed and jealousy. He had always envied the protagonist's rapid rise in the Shadow Squad. Now, seeing them with June, he realizes that they are traitors in the eyes of the Legion, destined for execution. With no reason to hold back, Gizmo challenges the protagonist to a battle, not just for the sphere, but to finally settle the rivalry that had been brewing between them. A skilled hand-to-hand fighter, Gizmo puts up a fierce fight, but ultimately the protagonist emerges victorious. Defeated but not broken, Gizmo reveals that he never had the sphere. He only wanted a chance to fight. The Shadow Sphere is with Sarge, who has already returned to the Legion camp with it. Realizing time is running out, June and the protagonist rush back to the Legion camp. The protagonist, having a deep bond with Sarge, believes that he might be able to convince him before it's too late. But with the Shadow Sphere's influence growing stronger, the question remains, is Sarge still the same man he once was? Upon arriving at the Legion camp, the protagonist and June are met with a grim sight. An executioner stands ready to carry out June's execution. If they are to save her, there is no choice but to challenge the executioner in battle. Before the fight, June warns the protagonist that the executioner has never been defeated. A formidable warrior, he has carried out countless executions in the name of the Legion. Despite the overwhelming odds, the protagonist fights with everything he has and, after an intense battle, emerges victorious, saving June from certain death. However, before they have a moment to recover, Sarge himself steps forward. The time for words is gone. Sarge challenges the protagonist to a one-on-one battle, but with one condition: no shadow energy. This is a test of pure skill and conviction. For Sarge, this battle is deeply personal. He raised the protagonist like a son, trained him, molded him into the warrior he is today. The emotions are heavy, but the duel begins. Round 1. The protagonist wins, proving his strength and skill. But Sarge is far from finished. Round 2. In a shocking turn, Sarge breaks his own rules. He unleashes shadow energy despite forbidding its use. The protagonist barely dodges as Sarge's attacks become more aggressive. Not stopping there, Sarge draws from the immense power of the shadow sphere, armoring himself in shadow energy. He then performs a devastating attack, the Hell Walk, a brutal combination strike that pierces the protagonist's gut and slams his head to the ground. The battle rages on, a desperate fight between master and student, until finally, the protagonist delivers the finishing blow, defeating Sarge once and for all. Wounded and beaten, Sarge's final words cut deeper than any blade. "You could have died honorably by my hands. Now, the entire Legion is against you. There is no turning back." But the weight of his words sinks in. The protagonist is frozen in shock. The man he once looked up to, the mentor who shaped him, has now fallen. And worse, he has become an enemy of the Legion. As he stands in a trance trying to process what just happened, June snaps him out of it, grabbing his hand and pulling him away from the battlefield. With Legion soldiers now in pursuit, they escape into the unknown, marking the end of Chapter 1. From here, the story takes a dramatic turn. Chapter 2 begins, where the protagonist is now a fugitive, hunted by the very army he once served. With nowhere to turn, and the shadow sphere still in play, what happens next will shape the fate of both the Legion and the Dynasty.